Live from the Ed McMahon Center, this is the Q30 News Nightcast.
The Q30 Newscast. I'm Andrew Badillo.
And I'm Kelly Novak. Another terror attack took place in Europe last week, this time in Belgium. A series of bombs went off in the city of Brussels at a local airport and a subway station, killing 35 people and wounding over 300 more.
3 students who are studying in Ireland happened to be at the airport in Brussels when the bombs exploded. The girls are safe, but this raises questions of what students can do to protect themselves if they choose to travel across the pond.
The Associate Vice President for Public Relations, John Morgan, expresses his thoughts on the attack and the ways Quinnipiac is helping students studying in Europe.
It's just being mindful of your surroundings. Obviously, we live in a different age, and you just have to really be, looking around and seeing things and assessing things all the time, especially when you're in public places like an airport or a subway. You just need to be aware of your surroundings and be able to, act accordingly should something happen.
As we said, the 3 girls who were at the airport are now safe. CBS spoke with one of them, sophomore Kate Duffy, about their entire experience.
We were waiting to check in line, and we heard like an explosion, like a pop or a boom, but we didn't see anything. And then probably less than 30 seconds later, like right in front of us, another one went off, and it was like a fire, really loud. It was a huge ball of fire, and it was like 50 feet from us, and it was absolutely insane. Like we just immediately started running.
Then there was a panic. Everybody broke out running, and they were screaming, and everyone tried to get out, and nobody knew what to do really or what was actually happening. So
we just ran out into this like a parking lot street area, and down to like a parking garage, and then out that into where there were a gate letting cars out to go back into the city, and we just stopped a car that was about to pull out and asked if they would give us a ride into the city, and they agreed to it. And it was like a son and his father, and they were super nice, and they brought us here to the U.S. Embassy, and we've been here ever since.
Oh, Raptor has named Quinnipiac one of the top 43 smart choice colleges in the nation. College Raptor is a college matching platform designed to help prospective students with college planning process. To be recognized as a top 43 smart college, schools must have a retention rate and a graduation rate of over 70%. Quinnipiac Vice President for Admissions and Financial Aid, Joan Isaac Moore, commented on the recognition, saying she is proud of QU's accessibility to help students navigate their futures.
Besides being a smart choice college, Quinnipiac has been known at times for its lack of diversity. Q30's Alexa Farrell has the details on an SGA initiative to boost campus diversity and Bobcat pride.
Quinnipiac is a small private university found just beyond the hills of the Sleeping Giant. The student body appears to have a lot of school spirit, but most days that isn't the case. Kelly Novak is one student that thinks people tend to only support the men's hockey team.
But there are countless other sports teams, there are countless other organizations and initiatives on this campus that students either don't know about or don't want to support.
According to a survey from the Student Government Association, 47% of students agree that there is a lack of school spirit at the university.
Because almost half of the student population is concerned about the spirit on campus, the Student Government Association has taken some steps to change the culture of Quinnipiac.
One of those members is a freshman class representative, Joe Yasso, who serves on the Student Experience Committee.
The goal is pretty much to make one unified community rather than separate cliques, and the students, faculty, and administration are usually pretty separate, and having them together can be really beneficial.
One initiative SGA started is the Humans of QU page. Ali Munchi serves on the Student Experience Committee alongside Joe. Ali has already seen success with the Facebook page.
We've been launched for 2-3 weeks now. We have about 400 plus likes, and I think the pictures on there are great, and I think they show a different side of this school, an aspect that people don't really see, that they just overlook. And it really shows you how diverse the student body really is in our experiences, in the way we dress, the way we act, the little things that we do, and that really defines We Are Quinnipiac. And I think it works great with our campaign too.
Some of the pictures have gotten over 100 likes. Novak believes the Humans of Quinnipiac page is a step in the right direction.
I think if they just continue to grow that, I think it could be better in improving school spirit, students feeling closer to one another and not just kind of assigning a label to everybody, the same label to everyone.
So, the mission for spirit and diversity continues at Quinnipiac. One story at a time to unite a campus. Alexa Farrell, Q30 News.
A Socrates Cafe was held Tuesday in the Piazza discussing democracy and the upcoming U.S. presidential election. The event was run by political science professor Scott McLean and 3 student facilitators. Students discussed government, the Electoral College, and offered their thoughts and ideas on the current state of the presidential race. The Socrates Cafe is a series event, and the next one will be held on Tuesday, April 21st.
One way to assess how much progress the university makes from year to year is by attending the State of the Union. Q30's Aya Galal tells us why it's important for students to go to this event.
The Student Government Association held its annual State of the Union address in the Student Center Piazza on March 23rd. The State of the Union provides an opportunity for students to listen to a panel discussion between administrators and students about the current affairs of the university. Student Body President Johnny Atkin explained why it's important for students to attend.
Well, most importantly, I think it's good to stay informed of what's happening around our university, especially because as student government, we hear a lot of questions that are thrown our way about big picture plans that are happening and where we are as a university.
The panel of administrators included Mark Thompson, the Executive Vice President and Provost, Monique Drucker, the Vice President and Dean of Students, and Salvatore Filardi, the Vice President of Facilities and Capital Planning. The SGA executive branch made the deliberate choice not to have President John Leahy on the panel. They wanted administrators who work on the day-to-day affairs to speak with students. Some topics discussed were diversity, tuition increases, and campus safety. One student government member shared what he would like to have seen discussed.
Would have liked to see a little bit more discussion about how to kind of slow down the growth in population. We have the largest freshman class in history.
Student Body President Johnny Atkin was pleased with how the State of the Union went.
So I think that overall, some of the questions that we have and that students had raised to us did get answered. So I was happy about how the conversation went, and I was happy that it was kind of more of a discussion and not as much a question-answer grill,
He also hopes the State of the Union will help set the tone for what SGA will work on in the future. I'm Aya Galal, Q30 News.
When we come back on the Q30 Newscast, the CAF made some big changes and students have mixed feelings about it.
That's right. Nicole Kessler gives us the latest weather forecast. Nicole, please tell us that the spring weather is here to stay.
So we can see that it's high 60s across the board. But will that temperature stay as nice as it is? I'll have more for you coming up.
The freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Trisha Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me.
Oh, well, 7 of me then.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
made some adjustments to the dining halls on the Mount Carmel and York Hill campuses over spring break. Q30's Joel Vanner tells us about the changes and how they are affecting students.
Chartwell's made some changes to the Mount Carmel Cafe Q and the York Hill Cafe over spring break. The changes to the Cafe Q include a new BYOB tablet ordering system, a Sono station to meet the demand for Latin cuisine, Bacon Create smoothies and all-day station, a vegetarian-focused rooted station, and expanding the options at the Wild Greens salad bar.
Campus Dining implemented these changes based on a recently conducted preference survey. Here's how some students felt about the changes at the Cafe Q.
To be honest, I don't really know how efficient the changes are. I know the one noticeable difference is the BYOB ordering system.
I think they're good. I haven't used all of them yet. I know the line at the BYOB is supposed to make the line a lot shorter, and I've experienced that. I think they're doing a good job at trying to make it a little more efficient.
I like them. I normally just get soup and salad, so there's a lot more options in the salad bar, which is really nice.
Yeah, I'm happy with them, and I think that it would be good to keep having more changes like this.
Chartwell's Dining Services provided Q30 with the following statement, quote, "These changes and additions have been well received by the Quinnipiac community. Carly Havidling, Student Government Association Vice President, passed along these comments regarding the recent changes. I wanted to reach out and let you know that I've heard a lot of positive feedback from students about the recent changes in the CAF, specifically in Cafe Q. The students especially love the all-day smoothie bar and some of the new, healthier options. The new layout and updated shelving looks great too. Thanks for taking student input into consideration with these changes and updates."
The addition of these touchscreen ordering systems to BYOB is new in the Cafe Q, and some students are concerned about the potential problems that may arise.
Our 3 girls got a grilled cheese, and then someone took hers because it was all out of sorts or something like that.
I think that if you have a custom order, then it could become a problem, but I haven't really seen that be an issue.
Campus Dining will present a vision plan for the coming years to the university in April, and once that plan is approved, they will present it to the rest of the university community. For Q30 News, I'm Joel Vanner.
A car chase left Hamden police officers a bit busy yesterday, Andrew.
And yeah, Kelly, and college students in Connecticut are looking at more debt. Anna Sackel has your news from around the area.
Thanks, guys. The Hamden police were involved in a car chase early on Wednesday. Police responded to a call at 3 in the morning of a group of individuals attempting to break into parked vehicles on Dunbar Lane. When police arrived, 4 men drove off in a Toyota Corolla, which was later determined to be stolen from Bloomfield on March 20th. The chase ended in Hartford when the 4 men abandoned their car and fled on foot. And any seniors looking to get a job working for the state of Connecticut after they graduate might want to think twice. The state budget has been in trouble for quite some time now, and a lot of cuts are on the way. Connecticut State Governor Daniel Malloy says that there are potentially thousands of layoffs and cuts to be made. The state is facing a shortfall of more than $550 million, and drastic actions need to be taken to fix the budget. And it looks like Connecticut college students may be facing some money trouble soon. The Connecticut State College and University system is going to see an increase in tuition at all 17 of their campuses. Schools like Southern University will be paying more than $10,000, a 5% increase from previous years. The president of the CSCU system says that the jump is necessary since their state funding is set to be cut by $26 million. And that's all I have for your local news. I'm Anna Sackel, now back to the desk.
Thank you, Anna. So, Andrew, Nicole, the box office was filled with highly anticipated films this past weekend, and is AC/DC getting a new lead singer? When we come back, Janelle Cadigan will have our entertainment news.
And guys, the weather has been really crazy. It's cold one day, hot the other day.
I'm seeing some snow in the forecast, Nicole.
That is correct. There's rain, there's snow. I mean,
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
I don't think anybody is looking forward to it. We want spring. Spring was here today, but it looks like there's going to be some snow. So I'll have more for you coming up on this edition of the Q30 Newscast.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Pause.
In the end, we're here to win the championship this year.
Jess Fontaine now has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number one, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is? It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time. Welcome back, everyone. If we could take a look at the current temperatures across the United States. New York, 68 degrees. Boston, 70 degrees. You know, spring is definitely here. I mean, it is going to be April tomorrow. Temperatures today, yet again, 60s, high 60s across the map. Meriden, 64. Hartford, 67. Storrs, 65. Beautiful spring weather. I saw some bobcats wearing shorts today. They're breaking out their sandals. Definitely the Uggs, the winter coats. They are long gone in our closet, which is really awesome. And the regional radar. So we can see that there is going to be rain, and a lot of rain starting tomorrow. And I know people don't like the rain because that kind of means you have to wear pants again. But no need to worry because we will be wearing shorts soon enough again. Tonight's forecast, 53, windy and rainy, 50% chance of rain. So the rain is coming. There's no getting out of it. And temperatures tomorrow. So even though it's going to rain, it's still going to be not super nice, but high enough temperatures. So Meriden, 64, Hartford, 65, 63 in Storrs. And then tomorrow's forecast is 64. But as we can see, the rain is going to bring a lot of gloom and doom to campus. I'm so sorry, Bobcats. Partly cloudy, 80% chance of rain. It's going to rain. And then the 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, sunny, 63. Oh, today, it was sunny out. And then Friday, we're going to see rain, a little bit of sun, and then lightning, which I don't think we've had any lightning this semester or this year, so that will be new for us. 64 high. Saturday, there's that rain, and 53. And then Sunday, we will be getting some snow, which is crazy because it's April, so it's spring. So we'll be getting some snow, which is very unfortunate. And the high will be 39. And then Monday, rain again. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, it will be beautiful, sunny, and perfect out. That's the end of this week's weather forecast. Back to you guys at the desk. Thank you so much, Nicole. So Whoopi Goldberg is creating an interesting new business, Andrew.
Interesting, Kelly. I thought she did enough as it was. And there's also an 80-year-old woman hitting the gym who gives me a run for my money, apparently.
Oh, really?
Janelle Cadigan has your entertainment news when we come back.
Thanks, guys. Movie theaters were packed this past weekend with the release of 2 major movies. Coming in at number 1 on the box office charts, Warner Brothers' Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice saw the 4th biggest opening weekend of all time, bringing in more than $160 million domestically and more than $400 million worldwide. Competing movie studio Universal released my personal favorite, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, which raked in $18 million over opening weekend. 14 years later, starring the entire original cast, the sequel is set around an unusual twist in the Portocalis family that brings them even closer than before. Whoopi Goldberg is the co-founder of a new medical marijuana business, and her intended market is the female population for relief during that time of the month. Goldberg has always been open about her use of marijuana and says business will launch next month. The remedy will be sold in the form of chocolate bars, liquid drops, and bath soaks. AC/DC may have found its new vocalist. Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose was seen leaving a rehearsal studio this week with AC/DC band members Angus Young, Cliff Williams, Chris Slade, and Stevie Young. Earlier in the year, the band announced that the remaining dates on their U.S. World Tour would be postponed due to frontman Brian Johnson's health concerns. The band announced that they would replace Johnson with a guest vocalist to finish the remaining shows. Sounds like Rose will be the man rolling thunder with the Australian rock band. And finally tonight, check out this viral video. Shirley Webb, a 78-year-old woman from Illinois, holds the state record in her age group for deadlifts at 237 pounds. In this video, Webb is seen deadlifting 225 pounds, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Webb said 2 years ago she could barely walk up a flight of stairs, but the more she works out, the better she feels. Now that's the motivation to hit the gym. That's all I have for your entertainment news. Back to Andrew and Kelly at the desk.
So obviously the men's ice hockey team is getting a lot of attention, but spring sports are heating up too.
That's right, you are, Kelly. We have your full report on the weekend sports after the break.
The freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Trisha Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me. Like,
oh, well, 7 of me then.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Pause.
In the end, we're here to win a championship this year.
Jess Fontaine now has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number one, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is? It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Welcome back, Kelly. A lot of great sports news lately, including the men's ice hockey team heading down to Tampa for the Frozen Four.
Yes, that's very exciting, and Sam Prebo is standing by with more sports news.
Thanks, guys. So the weather's getting warmer, the quad is getting greener, and the spring sports teams are getting into full swing, but there's still one winter sports team left, and that's our men's ice hockey team. We just said that they're traveling to Tampa for the Frozen Four, but how did they get there? Well, they started out by traveling to Albany, New York for the Eastern Regional of the NCAA tournament. The men's ice hockey team was the top seed in the tournament, and they took on the Rochester Institute of Technology in the first round of the East Regional. Senior forward Travis St. Dennis scored a power play goal in the first period to give the Bobcats a 1-0 lead, and they would hold on to that lead until the third period and then would build upon it. Scott Davidson scored early to make it 2-0, and the Bobcats weren't done. Captain Soren Janssen would score about halfway through the third period after a pass from Connor Clifton that was good enough to make it onto the Sports Center top 10. Another goal from Soren Janssen at the end of the game in the empty net would secure the Bobcats' win over the RIT Tigers 4-0, and they would advance to the regional final against UMass Lowell. So the next day, in Albany, the Bobcats would face off against UMass Lowell in an Easter Sunday matchup. The winner would go to Tampa. Lowell took the lead early on a power play goal by picked up an unassisted goal halfway through the period. Less than 2 minutes later, Sam Annis would score to give the Bobcats the lead. And in the last few minutes of the period, Scott Davidson would score his second goal of the weekend to make it 3-1. The Riverhawks tried to come back in the third, but strong goaltending from Michael Gartig and one more goal in the empty net from Travis St. Dennis would lead the Bobcats to a 4-1 victory and to Tampa. Be sure to follow us at Q30 Sports for the Hockey Beat reporters' coverage in Tampa and the upcoming Frozen Four. Back here on campus, though, the spring sports teams had an action-packed weekend. The men's lacrosse team began conference play on Saturday as they faced off against Siena in Hamden. Siena led Quinnipiac 4-3 after the second quarter, but the Bobcats would score 5 goals in the third quarter to take over the lead. Quinnipiac would go on to win by a final score of 11-6. Brian Feldman had 3 goals for the Bobcats, and Ryan Keenan, Connor Meth, and Kevin Deal each had 2 goals. The team will travel to Poughkeepsie, New York this weekend to take on another MAC opponent in Marist. The softball team was also home this weekend to take on Maine in a triple header. Quinnipiac would take the first game in the series on Friday by a final score of 4-2. However, Maine would take the next 2 on Saturday by a final scores of 9-2 and 3-1. The Bobcats would bounce back on Tuesday by sweeping a doubleheader against Fairleigh Dickinson University by final scores of 7-1 and 8-2. Quinnipiac would travel to Hartford on Wednesday and split a doubleheader against the University of Hartford. The Bobcats would shut out the Hawks 3-0 in the first game, but drop the second game by a score of 3-1. The softball team will return home this weekend to play 2 doubleheaders against MAC opponents Canisius and Niagara. That's all for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks a lot, Sam. And Kelly, Islam is a misunderstood religion. However, the students of the Muslim Student Association are helping to educate their peers.
That's right. We have the story on Islamic Awareness Week when we come back.
Freshmen this year have stepped in and really just eliminated that problem, doing the right plays at the right time.
I mean, it certainly seems like an uphill battle for this team, but Tricia Fabi is one of the best coaches at this university.
Bobcats hosting Arizona State. We'll start with this power play.
But she's strong. Good Lord, I saw her lifting one time. She could squat 3 of me. Like,
Oh, well, 7 of me then.
3.
Despite the strong and particularly negative opinions presidential candidates have held about Islam communities, one group on campus is working to inform students about the traditions of the religion. Q30's Janelle Cadigan has more on the events the Muslim Student Association held during Islamic Awareness Week and what they hope students learn from this.
Around the world, we have seen horrific acts of terrorism, most recently Brussels, as well as what happened in Pakistan.
With recent attacks all over the world, ISIS has given the religion of Islam a bad name, but Quinnipiac's Muslim Student Association is working to change that.
In the news, you'll see a lot of negative things about Islam and how it's portrayed. And Islamic Awareness Week is to sort of counteract that and say, look, what you're listening to and what you're hearing and what you're seeing on TV is not necessarily the case.
The 3-day occasion began with an event called Wear a Hijab for a Day. Hijab is a symbol of modesty and worship in the Muslim religion. Students tried one on with the help of an MSA member and were encouraged to go off campus while wearing the hijab to see how the public would react.
We really just want to give people the opportunity to understand what it's like in the day of a Muslim woman who wears the headscarf. There are a lot of challenges that Muslim women face on a day-to-day basis because of what they wear, because they choose to dress modestly, because they're wearing a headscarf. I have been called a terrorist before. In middle school, someone actually pulled my headscarf off, and these, unfortunately, aren't very uncommon.
Professor Jennifer Sackel went off campus while in hijab and said, "People either stared at me or didn't recognize me. Someone asked if I was cold." The next day, the MSA held an event called Cupcakes and Faith, which lured students in with a free cupcake while also encouraging them to take a brochure and learn about a topic in Islam.
A lot of what we focus on is just trying to clear up misconceptions about Islam. And I think the best way to combat ignorance and bigotry is through education, and that's really what we try to do.
And the MSA understands that we're not going to change everyone's mindset in one day, right? So all we're trying to do is get maybe one or two people to say, you know what, Islam is not actually like what I'm seeing and reading and hearing on TV. It's more like this, and it represents this, and these are the values. And it's about spreading peace. It's about spreading love. It's about loving your neighbor. Love thy neighbor. That's a common theme in every single religion, and that's really what Islam is about too.
Shania Horamani was this year's guest speaker. Not long ago, she was planning on going to medical school, but realized that ever since 9/11, many people didn't fully understand Islam.
I've had friends, close friends, who have been beaten up, who've been spat on, who've had things thrown at them, and I realized that if I wanted to change how Islam is viewed and how Muslims are viewed, then I need to do it myself, and so studying it and being as educated as possible on it would be the best way.
As an Islamic studies major, Shania strives to break down stereotypes about women in Islam.
Actually, a huge tenet of our faith is that there is no compulsion in religion. That's stated in our holy book, the Quran. So no one can force anyone to do anything, much less force a woman to wear hijab or force a woman to do something she doesn't want to do. It's quite the opposite. And so it's frustrating as, Muslim woman who's educated and who is self-employed and independent to constantly be looked at like I'm somehow a puppet of, the men in my life or something like that.
Aya, Ali, and Shania all say that the public has been incorrectly focused on what to do about Muslims instead of what to do about ISIS.
Islamism is our enemy.
I will not apologize for ISIS because ISIS has nothing to do with me. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they do. They follow none of the Islamic tenets they're supposed to follow. They're just Muslim by name, if even that.
When Donald Trump says things like all Muslims are responsible for ISIS and Islam is the enemy and Muslims hate us, things like that are just simply incorrect. And that's an issue, right? That's a stereotype, and that's a problem that we as Muslims need to take and accept and say, okay, well, we're going to break that down for people, and we're going to tell them why we're not like this or why Islam doesn't hate Americans.
Muslims have so much to offer this country and this culture and society, and when you demonize them, then you diminish their role and their contribution. So I just want them to see Muslims as normal people, not better, not like worse, just normal people, because that's what they are.
Janelle Cadigan, Q30 News.
And that will do it for this week's edition of the Q30 Newscast. Kelly, by this time next week, I'll be in warm, sunny Tampa.
Thank you for rubbing it in, Andrew, but I'm perfectly fine staying right here for the next edition of the Q30 Newscast.
For more information, visit our website at q30television.com. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Q30 News.
For Andrew Badillo, our producing staff, and the entire behind-the-scenes crew, I'm Kelly Novak. We'll see you next week.